Hey there, it's Casey Dimon here, TaxSaleAcademy.com. I want to first off thank you for watching this tax sale training video. If you do enjoy my videos, make sure you subscribe to our channel by clicking that red subscribe button. That way you don't miss out on future tax sale training videos, which we post 3 times every single week. All right, today I want to discuss the tax sale property that doesn't even exist. I remember an auctioneer one time who had a rather brash type personality sell a piece of real estate at a tax deed sale, and he immediately followed up with, "Congratulations, you just bought yourself a tax bill." Everybody at that auction laughed, thinking that he meant the bidder now had to pay taxes on top of the property that they own. But the statement seemed to go over the heads of most of the people in that room, except for the very seasoned investors who had done their research. The fact was, there was no land. There was no building. There was nothing. This person literally bought the rights to pay a tax bill and not much more. Now, I spent a good portion of my life educating others about this incredible business. And I'm so grateful to know that I've played just a very, very small role in the success of many new tax sale investors. And much of this is because I teach you what not to do. And this video is no different, but we're actually gonna take it a step farther. A lot of my due diligence talks about learning the condition of the property, learning about access to the property, value, all that kind of stuff. But what if it doesn't even exist in the first place? So I remember sitting in the Harrison County, Mississippi courthouse back in 2006. And this was not too long after Hurricane Katrina came through and decimated the Gulf Coast, including much of Harrison County. There were a number of tax liens that I was interested in purchasing. Now, most of the stuff that I wanted was land because of the obvious impact that Katrina had on so many structures in that area. But the name of one condominium complex kept popping up over and over again. Like there were just dozens of condos there available for tax liens. Just for curiosity's sake, I drove by just to see how impacted it had been. Impacted was not even the correct word. When I drove by, there was nothing there. Like nothing. The entire building had been swept away from its foundation. It was completely gone, and most of the foundation was gone as well. And obviously, stories like this are very plentiful at that time. But had I bought that lien, then had I foreclosed that lien, I would have had a tax bill. And likely, I probably would have had some legal issues to deal with as all the condominium owners battled each other to try to figure out what the heck to do. So why would you buy something like that, right? You obviously don't want that because all you have to do is pay those taxes. The fact is, these things exist on a routine basis. It's not just the landlocked properties, the wet properties, or stuff like that you have to worry about. The fact is, if you're looking at all those types of issues and you're doing the proper due diligence, then you'll quickly realize when a property doesn't even really exist. It'll become apparent very, very quickly for you. You just have to be thorough. Now, what happens is these properties might have an extremely low opening bid. It could be $10 or $100, maybe $500. It could be sandwiched between all these other expensive properties. So it might catch your eye just because it's the cheapest one at that auction. And that's what happens to a lot of people, especially those who are extremely green to this industry, and they will buy it just because it's the cheapest thing there. Now, obviously, $50 or even $500 wasted to learn a lesson might not be the end of the world for you. You might even think that you'll just let that property go back through the whole tax foreclosure process, right? You'll count it as a lesson, maybe an expensive lesson, but you'll move on, okay? The problem is that many counties won't allow you to bid on future properties if you have lost a property to tax foreclosure. So in some areas, this is actually a statewide issue. Buying the wrong property and let it go back after you decide you don't want it is a great way to end your tax sale career in those specific states where they ban you from investing in tax faulted real estate there. So let me go over 3 real quick examples for you of what I'm talking about. The first one is the one that we discussed. It's the air condo. The condominium complex does not exist. The complex might have never been developed. It could have been washed away. It could have been burned down, demolished, or whatever the case may be. But there is not a building there. There are no condos there. You simply own a little box of air. And unless you own all of those little boxes of air in which you have all the voting rights for that condo complex, Well, you can't do a whole lot with your little box of air except for getting that tax bill in the mail every single year and having to pay it. And this happens a lot. So be very, very careful you don't buy one of those nice little air condos. Even if it is on the beach, it doesn't do you any good. Another one is that non-existent subdivision. I've seen entire cities that were supposedly developed 20 or 30 years ago, and then you get there and nothing even exists. In this case, it might not be true as like nothing at all, but you go there expecting subdivisions, roads, and everything else all cut in, and there's nothing there, right? It was never improved. Even though you look at the plat maps, look at all this stuff that you find online, it looks like a city, but there's nothing there in the real world. I remember the first time I came across this, right? I searched for probably 20 hours trying to find this city. I'm like, where is this place at? It's right here. It should be so obvious. This is the street, but there's nothing there. It was never, ever developed. And I used every single tool imaginable trying to figure out what happened. But there's nothing there. No city, no subdivision. It's an odd sight, truthfully, to have something that was supposed to be developed 20, 30 years ago, and all these little lots are parceled out. It doesn't even exist. The last example are the more random or unusual properties. I've seen 1/100th ownership shares in a building sold, yet that building was never built. I've seen marina slips sold, yet that marina slip, that boat dock, wasn't there. Washed away, got flooded out, got sunk, whatever happened, it's not there. I've also seen lots of other crazy situations, right? I've seen sometimes where a parcel number will have been split from another parcel number, or they'll just change it totally in the system, but somebody forgets to update it correctly. So the city will end up having a tax bill sitting there for a parcel number that's not attached to anything. Then eventually the system will figure it out and remove it, but you don't get caught in the middle by buying a tax lien for a parcel that's not attached to anything. Guys, tax sale investing is an absolutely phenomenal business, but it's also a business that takes knowledge and effort. If you just jump in and start buying every single cheap property that exists, you're going to likely end up with something that might not exist at all. So remember to do proper due diligence. I've had plenty of phone calls from folks who spent quite a bit of money on properties that they thought existed, that they thought were those nice condos or that subdivision that was developed 20, 30, 40 years ago. I've heard people cry. I've seen the consequences from people that made huge mistakes. Then they come across my information later on and they say, what did I do wrong? Where did I go wrong? What happened here? Then of course I have to try to help them out the best I can. But what I suggest you do is take the time to learn right now. Learn how to do that due diligence. Make sure what you expect to buy is actually what you are buying. Now, I post these videos to serve as your resource, and I truly hope that you find them helpful. There's also a whole bunch of links down below in the description of this video that can help you get started on your quest for tax sale success. And of course, one of those links will take you to taxsaleacademy.com. When you're there, grab a free copy of my book, Tax Sale Playbook, if you just cover the nominal shipping cost. Or also, we have an entire academy devoted to investing in tax-default real estate on the same website, taxsaleacademy.com. Hey, take care, folks, and make it a successful day. See ya.